Hello everybody, and welcome to my first video of the Edge of Fate weapons. And today, we're actually going to be jumping into a weapon that initially was not super on my radar until, the API updated. I saw some of the perks that could roll with it, and really noticed that it's a rapid fire frame auto, which is awesome. That's my favorite archetype of auto rifles. The Ahab Char, which is available from the the name of the playlist escapes me. It's not the Pinnacle playlist. It's the other one. Oh, forgive me. I don't remember. I'm so sorry. But it's on that Fire Team playlist, the not Pinnacle one, and it is also available in the Solo Ops playlist. Those two share the same loot pool, and so that's where you're going to go to earn this particular auto. The biggest draw for me to this weapon is one of the new perks that is available with the Edge of Fate, and that is Burning Ambition. Dealing sustained damage scorches the target. Dealing damage to a scorched target inflicts scorch. So my thought when initially hearing about this perk is that, hey, when we saw it in that first live stream they did for the Edge of Fate, when they showed off the firing range, and it looked like the jolting feedback equivalent. It looked like the kinetic tremors of solar, something that didn't require a kill, something that you just applied over time. And I remember in that initial video looking at it and saying, that looks like it's taking a while to proc, but maybe it's just that particular weapon. Well, I have Ahab, and I have Burning Ambition. And as you're going to see in this video, it's a 56 round mag. It gets down to around 24 rounds before the first Scorch procs. I am running an Arc subclass, so I have no solar synergy. Your mileage will vary with solar synergy. But I think it's very strange when you compare something like Kinetic Tremors, which procs relatively quickly. You can proc that 2 times on a single mag of something like Chroma Rush, or Jolting Feedback that does proc relatively quickly, and then when you're amplified, procs even faster and continually. Ahab requires a lot of work to apply Burning Ambition, and you will see me using a bow briefly in this. It is the updated Astanax. That's the best you're getting out of me. Pre-Astanax 4, I think is how you say that. Don't correct me, please. I don't care. But that bow also has Burning Ambition and takes just 3 arrows, which I feel is relatively reasonable for a bow. It kind of goes in line with the around 60%. If you take like 5 arrows as the 100% mag in this scenario, 3 arrows applying Burning Ambition kind of lines up with the 32 rounds of the 56 round magazine applying that Scorch. So they kind of line up to around 60% of the mag. I don't have exact percentage numbers. I'm sure the community will generate those. I'm not here to do that math. I'm just here to tell you if the perk is any good. And on this particular gun, I don't think so. It takes 2 mags at least, if you're hitting every shot, to see any type of ignition come from this. Whereas, again, Kinetic Tremors, you can proc 2-3 times potentially on something like Chroma Rush or Giver's Blessing with the right rolls. Another weapon that I really want to talk about in a future video. I love that weapon. But Ahab has other benefits. So Burning Ambition, a little bit of a letdown. It does also feature in the 4th column the new Binary Orbit perk, which if you're going to be running something like me, like the Mint Retrograde or another darkness-based weapon in your kinetic slot, Elemental Final Blows opposite this weapon increase damage for a short duration. Darkness Final Blows boost Arc, Solar, and Void weapons. Light Final Blows boost Stasis, Strand, and Kinetic weapons. So you could get that, put something like a Mint Retrograde, use a Tinashe's, something like that, to get a kill and give this a damage boost. I don't have the exact number. I don't actually have a weapon currently, not that I have used, with binary orbit, so I don't have numbers for that. Again, that's something that the community is probably going to come to. You have other, tried and true like Swashbuckler, Kill Clip, Adagio. There are some interesting PvP options like Eye of the Storm. 720s are pretty decent in PvP, so you definitely could do worse. In the third column, there's a few interesting options, but number one, and probably the perk I am definitely looking forward to, is Heal Clip. Heal Clip is always great, and especially with the changes to how we heal in the Edge of Fate, having a reliable means of healing a lot in terms of Heal Clip is going to be a godsend in this expansion. So I would prioritize Heal Clip above all else. Transcendent Moment is going to be, in my opinion, like a decent PvP perk, not something I'm really concerned with in PvE, as some of that stuff you can get with like set bonuses and stuff like that. And Proximity Power is another cool option with targets nearby. Final Blows grant bonus melee stat, so that's something that you can utilize if you want to build into a little bit more of your kit. And then the Tried and True Subsistence if you just want to keep slaying out. The weapon, surprisingly, also features the Bray Legacy Origin trait, which is from the Vesper's Host weapons. So hits with this weapon generate ability energy for your most charged ability. And so that, again, tied with something like Proximity Power, is going to help you get like your melee back faster, your grenade back faster, your class ability back faster, and kind of compensate for some of the build changes that happened in the Edge of Fate. At its base recoil, I don't really see a need to make a lot of drastic changes. As far as I'm concerned, the weapon feels really good, kind of stock. My priorities, especially now that, at higher tiers, the barrels and mags that you have can become enhanced and improve benefits. I haven't seen too much of that quite yet. Not a lot of tier 4 weapons going around out there, at least not for me. So I have to do a little more testing with that, but I would definitely be targeting something that is going to increase your mag size. That's what really matters on an auto rifle like this, the 720 archetype. The more you can fire, the better. You don't really need a ton of stability. I've played with this particular one. I have polygonal and I have full bore. And swapping between them, the base recoil is a slight up left, despite it looking like a hard up and left 50 on the recoil direction. It's actually not a very hard pull up and left. And so I found it was very easy to control at that base recoil. So I don't think you really need anything like arrowhead break to rein that in. And again, with deterministic recoil, everything's a little wonky with that stuff. I have found, some weapons, and I find it a lot with SMGs, when you hit that initial burst, it's usually very accurate. Some guns really like when you kind of tap the trigger a bit and let out short bursts, you get a really stable shot. Ahab is not that. Ahab gets a little wild at the beginning and really stabilizes hard as the magazine drains. And so honestly, this is kind of a spray weapon. You want to get this thing rolling immediately, hold the trigger down, and just go. So honestly, just build into preference. Range always helps on something like this. In the firing range, you see some of those deeper shots. The gun does kind of get a little bit away, but we're talking, 50, 60, 70 meters. It can still hit those targets. That's not really what you're trying to use your auto rifle for. Anything within 40 meters of you is going to get wrecked. It's just going to die. So you don't need to really worry about that. And then again, I just worry about deepening that magazine, or short of that, prioritize your reload speed, because you want to maximize uptime of being able to fire this gun. Again, especially if you're going to try and use Burning Ambition, the more uptime, I'm sorry if you heard that Discord notification. I apologize. The way I have things set up, it just comes through. If you're going to try and use Burning Ambition and try and make that work, you're going to want the maximum uptime you can get on that magazine. So either more rounds or more reload. As far as it goes, it's a fun weapon. It has that kind of Bray Tech, Winter Wolf / werewolf gun model, and I love that. It is one of the lesser used models in the game. I think only really 2 guns have it. And I love it. Kind of has that Halo assault rifle vibe. I know it's not a 1-to-1, but it kind of has it. And that aesthetic really hits for me. And so I really like the look of this gun. I do like the feel of this gun. And honestly, if Burning Ambition was a better perk, I would do a lot to rearrange, kind of the way I play, where I'm primarily using Void and Arc weapons right now in that slot. I would gladly use Ahab if Burning Ambition was a more compelling option. And maybe Bungie makes some adjustments in the future. I think they need to bring down that activation time. I understand that they don't want crazy ignitions going off all the time. I think a nice trade-off, if you're assuming maybe around a 20% level of Scorch, like 5 procs to ignite, or somewhere in that range. Again, we don't have exact numbers, but just throwing out a number. If it's about 20% per proc, let's say, maybe take that down to 15, but take the amount of rounds required to do it down. So maybe take that down to around 40% of the mag, 35% of the mag, that top third. Let that proc the first one, reduce the amount of scorch it's applying so it ends up evening out in the end. Get that ignition still on the second mag. That's not necessarily the end of the world. The problem is that if you're using this gun against the type of enemies you're supposed to use a primary against, you're never going to proc Burning Ambition because the gun kills things too fast. It's a good gun. Maybe in higher end content you're going to see that, but the last thing you want in any content is to be fighting a red bar and realize that you have dumped enough magazine, about 60% of your magazine, and then procced Burning Ambition on them. That's not a good feeling because that means you just mag dumped a red bar. And so you need to think about what you're doing when you're playing this content at that point. Like, am I where I need to be right now, where I have to mag dump this red bar so hard that I'm procking Burning Ambition? So, take the good with the bad there. It's a great gun. It's a great feeling gun, and I really want to like it more than I do. I really want to use it. It's a shame that it's kind of claim to fame perk right now isn't very good. And, I've talked to other people about it, and it sounds like everybody kind of feels the same about Burning Ambition kind of across any weapon that has it right now, at least within the group that I, am playing with and talking to. Burning Ambition doesn't seem like the play. You look at the reviews on light.gg and a lot of people are saying, this ain't it. So hopefully Bungie sees that feedback and makes some necessary adjustments. It would have been nice if Incandescent came on the gun, because then at least you'd have a solar synergy alternative. I don't personally like when they have one but not the other. Like, that burned me a lot last episode when some of those guns had, volt shot but not jolting feedback, or had jolting feedback but not volt shot. When you have guns like that, if you're going to have that synergy, I think you should just have all the options there and let the player decide, give them some of that agency. We're getting into a different topic. We're moving beyond Ahab Char at this point. But, I think it's worth noting that, that's kind of in line with some of the design choices that they've made with the Edge of Fate, and some of the design choices that they've continued to make over like the Final Shape era. And so, you got to take the good with the bad there, but maybe there's room to grow. Let's hope. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Let me know if you like Ahab. Let me know if you feel differently about Burning Ambition or feel the same. Let me know if there's a particular gun that you want me to try and tackle first. Right now, I'm not promising any timetables for when videos will be coming out. I am planning on doing one for third iteration now that they have adjusted it. They've corrected the bug that was with it. Spoiler alert, still a great gun. Who could have thought? I would like to do one on the Mint Retrograde, which has been one of my favorite new guns of this expansion. I love that thing. And I'm trying to get my hands on the SMG from the raid, but boy, did contest burn me out on that raid. I have no negative comments about contest, just that I personally got really burned out by it, and I have not really, I have not cleared the raid yet, even on normal. And as somebody whose favorite content is raiding in Destiny, I we're gonna get way off topic if I keep going. I'm not trying to go on a tangent. Third iteration, mint retrograde, and ideally, if I can get my hands on that SMG from the raid, I would love to do a video on that, because there are some roles on that that I really want to play with. So keep an eye out for those in the future. Giver's Blessing. That's going to be one of the next ones too. That incredible auto rifle. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.